This is your stop for all things pop. Catch our all-around pop culture geek, Cholo Sediaren, as he throws in some dose of what's poppin' and what's hot in the pop culture scene here on Popcorn. Lunch in with us every Thursdays from 4 to 6, only here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM.
What's poppin', and welcome back to Popcorn with Cholo Sadiaren, your stop for all things pop, where we talk about all things pop culture dito sa Pilipinas, sa buong mundo. At nagbabalik tayo dito sa Radyo Katipunan. Medyo matagal na tayong huling nakapunta dito. It's been a while, and this is one of 2 new episodes this week actually. You can go check out our previous minisode on Welcome Home, Unforgettable, and Cinnamon Originals Primer, along with all our other episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever you stream your podcasts. And also here on the Radyo Katipunan Facebook page, marami kami episodes dito. So go check those out if you haven't yet. But today, we are here with our first extra special guest in a long time. Matagal na rin kaming nagpaplano para sa episode na to. Ngayon, finally mangyari na rin. We have Direk Arden Rod, of the director of John Denver Trending from Cinemalaya 2019. Hello, Direk. What's poppin' to you?
Finally na nangyari rin siya.
Oo nga eh. Parang nung Cinemalaya season pa, we had Annie before, and I was trying to get other films, and medyo nagkaroon lang tayo ng scheduling issues. But finally, we're here. Thank you so much for accepting my invite. Napanood ko yung John Denver Trending nung season mismo, and super nagustuhan ko talaga siya, and I really wanted to talk about it with you. That's why I messaged you and invited you on the show.
Yeah, unang-una salamat. Yeah.
So thank you and congrats sa lahat ng mga nakuha mong parangal para sa movie. Of course, that's the best film in feature-length film in Cinemalaya 2019. Aside from that, marami pang other awards like Best Actor for the lead actor in this film, si Jansen Magpusaw. He got Best Actor, Best Original Music Score, Best Editing in Cinemalaya 2019. So, kamusta after all that, you know, the whole Cinemalaya experience?
Well, sobrang bilis ng mga pangyayari. We didn't expect everything to happen that fast, tsaka that big then for the film. Kasi we never planned it or expected it to be this, alam mo yun, pag-uusapan. Kahit yung pagkapanalo niya, we never intended it to win anything. Sa totoo lang, walang halong biro. Kasi parang this is a very small scale film. As in, ginawa lang siya parang neighborhood project. And then yun nga, hanggang ngayon we are surprised with the reception of the people.
But well, you're saying it's a small neighborhood project, pero I think the impact mismo ng movie is really big, especially with the topic it covers. So for the listeners and people who are watching who are not familiar with what the story is, what is John Denver Trending about?
Okay, it's just a simple story of an ordinary boy sa probinsya, particularly in the province of Antique, who all of a sudden rose to infamy, all of it because of a viral video kung saan siya nang bugbog ng kaklase, and because of that viral video, nagbago yung buhay niya. Yun lang yung tinakbo ng kwento.
At dahil sa isang iPad.
Walang iPad na hindi nakita.
So, syempre coming off of that story, ano yung how did you get into starting writing that? And syempre, this is your directorial debut also, diba?
Okay. Well, I've been a writer of ABS-CBN for almost 15 years. So parang yung almost 15 years na yun prepared me to write a screenplay. Pero technically, this is also my first time to write talaga a screenplay. Kasi for so many years, I've been writing scripts for TV lang. And then yun, when I did this story, the script, sobra lang siyang, narinig ko lang kasi yung kwento, galing siya, based on a true story, narinig ko lang sa radyo, and then hindi na siya umalis sa utak ko. Sobrang hindi siya umalis, I had to write it from Christmas of 2017 to New Year of 2018. So, nung period lang na yun ko siya sinulat yung script. Yun. Tapos, luckily, trivia to, nakapasok siya ng Q Cinema. We had to pull out because I feel ko I wasn't ready to do this.
For Q Cinema, which year?
2018.
Okay.
So that was the year when Oda sa Wala won. So yun, we were just 6 na pinili. Tapos sobrang hiyang-hiya ako nun. I had to pull out because I wasn't expecting na makapasok ng Q Cinema. Pinasok ko lang siya talaga just for the heck of it. Tapos nagulat ako, nakapasok kami, tapos sobrang hindi ako prepared, ang daming kailangang ayusin. And then, nung time na yun, we were already waiting for the result naman sa Cinemalaya. So yun, simula nung nakapasok siya, doon na nangyari yung lahat.
And yung production na yun, mga ilang days kayo?
We prepared for months, pero yung shooting process itself took only 10 days.
Okay.
For the film to be done. So yun, parang almost half a month kami nandun. May mga rest lang kami in between those 10 days.
And syempre, this film is not actually set in a familiar setting na palagi natin nakikita sa mga pelikula, TV shows. This is in Antique.
Yeah.
Actually, hometown mo siya, di ba?
Hometown ko siya. That's why it was easy for me then to maneuver at
gamay mo na talaga.
Make things happen at the using a very limited budget. So yun, yung town na yun is Pandanantique. The name of the place is Pandanantique. It's 45 minutes away from Boracay.
Oh, okay.
So sobrang lapit lang niya sa lahat. So yun, so doon kami tumira, doon kami nagstay for the film, and then yun, kaya ako sinabing it's a neighborhood project kasi I involved my neighbors in making the film. Bukod sa mga production staff, pati rin yung mga actors.
Oh,
like my aunt, and yung principal doon is my aunt.
Talaga?
Tapos even my mother also acted in one of the scenes.
Sino siya doon?
Buyer lang siya ng bag. Pero nahiya siyang mag-lines. Bumili lang siya ng bag. Tapos yun, some of the kids are distant relatives. Tapos some of them are parang kids of kamadyong ng nanay ko. So yun. So parang yun lang talaga siya. It's a big reunion lang of people na konektado ako.
So buti pumayag yung mga bata na maging bully sila sa main character.
I think siguro din sa panahon ngayon na sobra silang familiar sa camera. Kasi when we were shooting, doon ko nakita parang iba talaga yung generation ngayon. They're parang sanay na sila sa cellphone camera. Kasi pag sinabi mong walang titingin sa camera, yung mga kids, hindi talaga sila titingin sa camera, but the adults, yung mga adult cast, yung sila pa yung nakatingin, yung nagbabantay kung nasa kanila pa ba yung camera o hindi.
Yung parang conscious
pero
talaga sila.
Pero yung mga bata talaga, natural na sila, yung wala silang pakialam. They can really act natural sa
Pero given that experience, syempre, a lot of the actors are kids primarily kasi yun nga, it's set in a school. I mean, most of it. And then, syempre, a lot of these, as you mentioned, are people that you knew personally. So, paano yung experience na directing people you knew or like directing non-actors?
Kung meron mang akong nahirapan, yun na yun siguro. Kasi sobrang hindi ko maseryoso. Tawa ako ng tawa. Kasi parang, alam mo yung... I made them act. Never in their wildest dreams na aarte sila in front of the camera. And then I pushed them to act. Tapos when I saw them acting in front of me, trying to be professional, sobra akong, hindi ko mapigilan yung tawa ko minsan. Like, halimbawa, sa tita ko, na principal nga, yung nakikita ko siyang seryoso.
And maraming lines yung principal, di ba?
Sobra ako yung tumatakbo ako palayo kasi tatawa talaga ako doon. Minsan kami, nagkakat kami doon kasi ako mismo yung sumisira na
Pero on their end, medyo nagkaroon ba ng struggle parang as non-actors?
Well, we prepared them naman kasi parang we had workshop for 4 days.
Okay.
Tapos yun, mas yun nga, parang familiarization on the terms sa shoot, yung ganun, anong gagawin. Yun, naging naman kasi I don't want it naman masyadong rehearsed kasi. Yun naman yung siguro yung
intention. And din yung goal.
Na ayoko siyang masyadong prepared sila to do the scenes.
Yeah.
Kaya yung point kasi they have to act them yung sila lang.
Yeah. And parang next time siguro na mabigyan ka ng artista hindi pa ganun kahasa. Parang alam mo na coming from your first film na you know, it's mostly people who aren't so familiar with all the things.
Ngayon, in hindsight, kaya parang doon ka na-realize na parang maybe it's time also for professional actors na kabahan. Kasi parang if non-professional actors can do their job without walang reklamo, yung ganun ka-eager gawin yung mga bagay.
At wala silang mga kung ano-anong requests.
Requirements, yung walang nagdidiva. So parang
syempre familiar ka na with that
naman,
setting.
Parang, with ABS naman yun. May mga experience before. So yun naman sa akin parang at the end of the day kwento pa rin talaga yung ang rason kung bakit nadodraw yung mga audience sa isang pelikula, hindi yung mga artista.
Actually dapat ganun nga. I mean, syempre now it's more of like people are starting to accept nga na yung mga films na hindi kilala yung actors or kahit hindi talaga sila artista per se, parang mas tanggap na nila just because it's a good story. And this one specifically it's really good.
And it's nagiging trend na siya for me kasi yung nanalo sa Q Cinema, the best film in Q Cinema right now is Cleaners na ginawa rin din sa Tugigaraw and like entirely mga non-professional actors yung bida doon.
So parang ganun din same parang same effect to it. And parang speaking of Antique, syempre how were you inspired to use it as the backdrop or the setting of the film?
Well, pag taga-Antique ka talaga, simula nung bata ka, parang nagsastruggle ka parati sa reputation mo. Kasi parang yun nga, parang if you're from Antique, parating madalas tinatanong sa'yo, parang may totoo bang may aswang dyan? And yun nga, growing up, may pinagkakamalan talagang aswang sa neighborhood namin. So parang when you think of people na nagiging nasisira yung pagkatao or yung reputasyon sa social media, hindi ko maiwasang maalala yung mga tao din na nasisira before sa probinsya namin all because of chismis.
Dahil
so,
parang may mythology din ng aswang ganun.
So nung inaisipan kong gawin yung kwento na to sa Antique, I had to adjust the script to fit the story sa milieu ng Antique at kung paano mag-isip doon yung mga tao. Yun.
So parang did you have any other ideas aside from like this story of John Denver trending na syempre this is more like a grounded story na realistic. So you were mentioning aswangs lang, parang may chance ba na naisip mo na may ganong aspect na mythological, fictional, fantastical, or maybe in future projects?
Well, yun talaga yung gusto kong gawin as a director, yung parang expose yung mga kwento from our region na somehow interesting. It's very local stories pero reflecting global concerns. Like yun nga, yung issue tungkol sa aswang kasi hindi pa alam ng mga tao that actually sakit siya na doon lang makikita sa probinsya namin.
Talaga?
Yeah, so yung mga ganong bagay, hindi pa alam yun. So parang gusto ko, I would like to tell those stories as a filmmaker in the future. Kaya ako din dito sinimulan. Kasi parang yes, it's a social media story, but then yun nga, nakapasok siya doon sa mundo ng kung saan naniniwala yung mga tao pag ng mga aswang.
Sobrang gandang fun fact nung aswang na yun. Hindi ko rin alam na may ganun pala siyang yung backstory.
Kasi papunta tayo doon. Kung tatanungin mo yung mga bata doon kung anong itsura ng aswang, hindi sila yung pag dinemo nila yung hindi sila nag-fly, nagko-contort sila ng katawan. Kasi yung sakit na yon, kasi para siyang Parkinson's disease na uncontrolled yung movement ng muscles, so nagtitwist yung katawan. And these people, kasi hereditary siya, so may stigma, so these people come out of their houses at night. At doon lang sila nakikita.
Because they don't want to be seen.
So yun yung nakikita ng mga taong gising sa gabi, at yun yung sinasabi nilang aswang.
Oh, ganda niyan.
Yun.
Ano ko yan, may mga podcast din kasi about mga mythological creatures, creepy stuff na Tagalog sila. So, I'll let them know about this fun fact. Hello, Creepsilog, and wag kang lilingon.
No.
May mga story pala si Direk
I have a
about
lot of
that.
stories kasi syempre growing up, parang ang dami ko talagang encounters.
Bagay na bagay pala dahil kaka-Halloween lang. So, I mean, going back to the story of Antique, parang syempre, this is a very modern story na rin. How much research did you go into dun sa paano ginagamit ng town nyo yung social media? I mean, you go home often, pero syempre, alam mo ba yung mga galawan ng mga bata doon?
That's a funny thing kasi yung mga bata ngayon, well, as I've seen sa actors namin, sobra silang, they feel like they belong to the rest of the world kasi hindi ko yung naramdaman nung nandun ako when I was growing up, parang feeling ko sobrang detached kami sa sibilisasyon. Late na kami nagkaroon ng cable, late na rin kami nagkaroon ng telephone. So parang yung mga ganong bagay na na-experience ng mga people from Manila ay hindi ko na-experience ng bata, pero ngayon yung mga bata, sobrang na-amuse ako kasi parang they're like familiar with everything that is happening here in Manila and even outside the Philippines. Kasi nga, because of social media, of internet, na kahit sobrang bagal ng internet doon, nakaka-adapt pa rin sila sa changes ng ibang lugar.
I mean, so paano yun? Parang, did you ask, syempre you mentioned na may mga pamangkin ka in the movie. Parang yun ba yung starting point mo as to how they're into the internet or into global things now as compared to your time? Syempre part of the research naman talaga yung to understand the psyche of kids like the John Denver is to talk to them. Pero yung mainly yung for my research for this film, pinag-aralan ko talaga yung kwento na nangyari doon sa Bago City sa Negros about this boy and his mother who encountered ay parang ang tawag dito public stoning kumbaga, all because of a stolen iPad. Actually, so even the mother was involved in it?
Yung sa totoong kwento, late na nalaman ng mother.
Okay.
Ayoko lang sabihin kasi baka ma-spoil sa manonood, pero yun, parang for 4 days yung batang to ay binuli sa social media. Ginawan siya ng parang Facebook page just to para mapilit siya na umamin sa isang pagkakamali na hindi niya ginawa, and that affected him and eventually the life of his mother. So yun talaga yung basis ko for the script and even dun sa paggawa ng pelikula. And then yun nga, well, I had to mention, parang when we were preparing for this film, a year ba? Parang 6 months after I wrote the script, nangyari yung incident dito sa Ateneo.
Oh, okay.
So actually yung script
which namin, is parang national scale talaga yung issue na yun. Siyempre
yung script namin sobrang similar dun sa nangyari. Pero nasulat ko na siya months ahead of the incident. Pero nung nagpi-pre-prod kami and we were like parang holding workshops for the kids, yun yung naging basis namin ng lahat, even sa props, sa mga, kaya minsan familiar yung iba sa mga nababasa dun sa screen ng mga sa film mismo, like yung anong mga nakikita mong post, yung iba dun inspired of yun nga yung incident dito at kung paano nag-react yung mga tao. Yun, inaral namin yun when we were preparing for the film.
So, I mean, syempre, I guess that speaks talaga about the universality of the story na kung nasa probinsya ka man, nasa Ateneo ka, I mean, that kind of culture is really...
And, also, for Jansen, our lead actor, syempre hindi pa siya ganun ka-aware of how a kid like him maapektuhan na ganitong klaseng ordeal. Kasi I had to ask him kung paano ba siya, how familiar is he sa nangyayari ngayon, kung paano naapekto, sa tingin niya yung epekto ng mga ganitong insidente sa isang kagaya niya. And then he told me a story of a classmate na at 14 years old, he was sent by his parents to a mental hospital because of depression. So parang sobra ako na-bother sa kwento ng batang yun na parang at 14 nag-succumb na siya into depression. And yun, inalam namin yung kwento ng batang yun, yung classmate niya, and then that was also his basis kung sa acting niya. So every time umaarte siya, iniisip niya yung kaklase niya na yun.
Galing.
Yun.
I mean, obviously it's a sad story, but to be able to translate it
kasi
to
yun naman yung in dealing with a non-professional actor, you cannot tell them na ito yung about being, kasi 'di ba pag sa ano yan, pag professional actor kayo, you have to be familiar with method acting, being, yung mga ganung technical terms, but for someone like him na hindi naman familiar at hindi naman plinanong mag-artista, hanggang ngayon ayaw niya mag-artista, yun, mas yun yung naging approach namin. Pinakwento namin siya kung sino yung kilala niya na yun.
Kung ano yung paghuhugutan niya.
Paghuhugutan niya.
And speaking of Jansen, paano yung proseso ng paghahanap sa kanya? Siyempre, ang daming choices. Did you have choices din na mas kilalang child actors or you really wanted to go for...
Unang-una talaga, parang when we were selected sa Cinemalaya, una ko talagang mandate is to make this film na hindi na all talaga non-professional actors, like kasi yung point na yung isang tao na biglang sumikat all because of a viral video, kasi gusto ko siyang ma-capture mismo sa experience ng mga actors na hindi sila kilala, para lang din yung level of believability din sa audience pag pinanood mo, hindi to kilalang mga taong to and yet nagiging sikat sila all because of a video. So parang gusto ko talaga na umpisa pa lang na to shoot it with non-professional actors. So, yun naman, nagsimula kaming mag-cast. Tapos, ang problema ko, very particular yung requirement na hinihingi sa character ni John Denver. Sa lahat ng nag-audition, parang they were like 300 kids.
Wow.
Na nagpadala sa Facebook, personal auditions, yung ganyan.
Nag-open call ba kayo for that?
Sobrang tagal. Doon lang din sa Panay, kasi para familiar sa language, hindi kami mahirapan kasi it had to be in Kinaraya din, our local language. So yun, wala akong mahanap kasi sobra ako na-bother nga doon. Kasi umabot ako sa point na magde-decide na sana ako to choose na lang famous actor, professional actor na kid. But then, one of my cousins sent me a picture of this boy. Nung zoom in ko, nakita ko yung mata, sobrang expressive. And then, sobrang ako na-intriga sa mata niya. Tapos, inutusan ko yung isang staff namin to go to the house. Apparently, kakilala ko pala yung family nila. So, pinuntahan. And then pina-acting namin. So yung acting niya, syempre hindi naman siya familiar sa Cinemalaya and how indie actors act. So yung acting niya, probinsyano, cardinal sa'yo. Ang taas talaga. But then yun nga, wala naman akong naging pakialam doon. Kasi for me, nakita ko yung kung gaano ka-expressive yung mata ng batang to.
Actually, yun nga yung parang isa sa mga napansin ko during the movie na di man siya nagsasalita, parang mararamdaman talaga yung pain na nararamdaman niya or
napeke niya lahat.
Grabe
yun. So, sobrang siguro kami ding sinuwerte sa kanya na parang to find someone like him na ang bilis, hindi niya man naiintindihan yung mga eksena kung gaya ng pagkaintindi halimbawa ng isang professional actor. But then, yung pagkaintindi niya sa kung anong dapat maramdaman niya, lumalabas ng sakto sa itsura niya kahit hindi siya nagsasalita. So yun. Bihira ka lang makahanap dun, even sa mga actors ngayon na nagtatrabaho talaga. Mahirap kang hindi ka makakapaghanap ng ganun kadali ng mga actors na pwedeng gumawa ng ganung klaseng character.
So syempre after nun, syempre lumabas na sa Cinemalaya. First time yata ni Jansen makapunta ng Manila.
For the press con. Yun, yung first plane ride niya.
So how was that whole experience?
Natutuliro siya. Hanggang ngayon nga sobrang yung hindi niya alam kung anong i-react. So parang he's still absorbing everything, ganyan. Yun nga funny nga parang when the press asked him sa isang press con, parang nagbago sa buhay mo, pakiramdam mo, marami bang changes na, sabi niya wala po. Kasi parang feeling ko sa POV niya, ganun nga, parang para lang siyang isang mahabang panaginip.
Oo.
So yun, it was his, yun. Kasi ang daming first. It was his first plane ride, the first time to go to Manila, first time to see a movie inside a cinema, movie house, yun. So lahat ng yun nangyari within a week. Parang isang sunod-sunod na mga So yun, nakapunta rin siya ng abroad eventually, yun.
And speaking of abroad, kakauwi nyo lang from Korea for the Busan International Film Festival.
So yun, luckily, parang we got selected as one of the 14 films na magko-compete for their parang main competition for New Currents yung tawag nila. For first time and second time filmmakers. Tapos, usually they require parang a world premiere status. Ibig sabihin, parang dapat dun muna sa kanila pinalabas before everyone else can see it.
Yeah.
Yun. So, but then for our film, they made an exemption. Kasi parang sabi lang international premiere lang. So, parang, yun, in-exempt nila sa rule yung John Denver because one of the jury ng Cinemalaya is also a programmer of Busan. At siya talaga nag-push na isali kami doon kahit nakapalabas na kami sa Philippines. So yun, so naging masaya naman yung experience. Sad to say, hindi kami nanalo. Binigay nila yung award. May award kasi, 2 award na may money, malaking money. Binigay nila sa isang film na 7 years ginawa. So parang okay naman. Pero kasi, yun, understandable naman yun. And then, well, we were there naman for the experience. Hindi naman sa kasi seeing the kid Jansen na alam mo yun, in awe of everything parang Busan had to offer, plus sobrang lakas na wifi.
Hindi naman kayo hinabol ng mga zombie.
Hindi naman, nakailang beses kaming train ride, mas na mesmerize, more than anything na mesmerize siya dun sa bilis ng internet dun sa Busan. Kahit saan siya Mobile Legends lang siya.
And syempre, coming from Cinemalaya, ano yung experience na local film festival and international film festival?
Yan. Well, nung 2 years ago naman, we had an experience also in Busan because of his film. Producer ko pala nandito.
Hello, sumali ka mo naman dito.
It was our first taste of Busan, and I knew na nung time pa lang na yun na ganun siya ka-grand kasi parang it's like the biggest festival in Asia. At ang laki talaga, grabe talaga yung devotion ng mga taga-Korea sa festival na yun kasi ang laki talaga ng scale. So when we got selected for this year, sobrang na-excite kami, and more than for me, pero bukod sa akin, mas kay Jansen. Kasi yung red carpet na sobrang haba, na yun, sobrang siyang na-tense dun sa red carpet na yun, level ng ni-rehearse siya a day before. Yung lakad niya na yun. So yun, so okay naman, maganda yung naging experience namin. We were there for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Sobrang tagal namin.
So yung festival, mga 1 week ba siya ganun, or
more than, parang almost 2 weeks ata. So parang naubos yung pera namin.
So in between, parang mag-iikot kayo?
In between, pumunta pa kami ng Seoul, nag-ikot-ikot sa Nami Island, tapos bumalik pa kami. So yun.
So congrats on that. All right, so that's our first half of our interview. We will be back for another round of talks about John Denver Trending and with the recorded. So stay tuned for more popcorn.
Control my faces away. See me through a screen and talk about it. Know you'll follow me, and what about it? Distance and me, and yeah, you doubt it. Compare, you can't compete. My heart tells me that this ain't right. My head's looking out for answers. Can't compromise your honesty to those who live without it. See me through a screen. Know you'll follow me. There still isn't me.
Getting right, I tend to lose control. My thoughts fill up with memories that hurt my soul. They tend to hold a conversation for me. I leave them on red for sure, yeah, for sure, yeah. And I can open up my heart. I'm sick and tired of me taking it right from the start. I'm way too bad at love, 'cause in the end I fall apart. And it restarts. I can't depart it. Feel like
And I hate it. Sleep can't replace when my head's about to reach and I try to feel liberated. Can't control my faces away. See me through a screen. Know you'll follow me. There still isn't me. Compare, you can't compete. My heart tells me that this ain't right. My head's looking out for answers. Can't compromise your honesty to those who live without it. See me through a screen. Know you'll follow me. There still isn't I'm satisfied, and I know you know that. Baby, I'll show you what I can do. Tell you things you wanna hear. Everything I feel is clear. Baby, what's wrong with you? Been standing right in front of you, waiting for you to make your move. Baby, I ain't leaving without you. Show me what I'm supposed to do. Baby, I ain't leaving without you. You and me, we're compatible more than the physical, often predictable. And I know it's more than physical, far from predictable. 'Cause we're compatible. You don't know what I've been through. Don't see what I could be for you, but I'll prove to you. I've been searching all this time. I really wanna make you mine till I'm satisfied. Baby, I'll show you what I can do. Tell you things you wanna hear. Everything I feel is clear. Baby, what's wrong with you? Been standing right in front of you, waiting for you to make your move. Baby, I ain't leaving without you. Show me what I'm supposed to do. Baby, I ain't leaving without you. Baby, I ain't leaving without you. Show me what I'm supposed to do. Baby, I ain't leaving without you. Baby, I ain't leaving without you. Show me what I'm supposed to do. Baby, I ain't leaving without you.
Halika na, ibuhos mo na hanggang mapaw sa isang saglit. Ang takot mo ay mapapawi. Baso at bote sa unang tigil. Imposibleng di tumama, pati umindi. Ngayong gabi, simula na ng pagsisisi. Di maibabalik. Alaala na ang magsasabi. Baso at bote sa unang tigil. Imposibleng di tumama, pati umindi. Baso at bote sa unang halik.
And that was Baso at Bote by Grace Note. And before that, Always Ain't Leaving Without You by Tala. And Head or Heart by Claudia Barreto featuring Jason Dacal. We are back here at Popcorn, still with Derek Arden of John Denver Trending. So, before, I mean, while we were on break, pinag-usapan lang namin mga Korean stuff na iba pala yung theater going culture or cinema going culture ng Korea.
Sobrang kahanga-hanga sila. Yun, like I said, hindi ayaw nilang pa-istorbo pag nanonood ng pelikula. And then, yun, pag hindi sila naglalabas ng cellphone. At pag nakita ka nilang naglabas ka ng cellphone, the moment they see your cellphone light up, then tatapakin ka talaga nila. They will call you out para patayin mo yung cellphone mo. At kahit pagkain ng popcorn.
Which is something we should aspire to here.
Sobrang they really consider film as art. Parang imagine yourself pag nanood ng pelikula na nasa museum ka. Sobrang tahimik nila.
Ganun talaga.
Ganun sila katindi when they're watching films.
Which is something, I mean, I guess kailangan pang aralin ng mga Pilipino sa mga nagdadala ng chicharon dyan.
Kasi I think they don't see movie watching as pastime. Parang they see it as them watching art. Yung ganun sila ka invested sa films. Yun.
So, I mean, syempre, coming from that, I guess we should go back to the film itself. The film heavily revolves around, yun nga, bullying, social media. I wanna ask you, ano yung masasabi mo tungkol sa social media in general na ang daming call-out culture, canceling culture, ganon. Syempre, in-integrate mo rin yun in a sense na call out siya in real life more than, I mean, in both ways.
Well, parati kong sinasabi, parang for me, the Philippines as a culture, we are not really prepared sa power ng social media. Yes, parang we need social media to stay connected with our family members, loved ones, most especially yung mga nasa abroad. Kaya siguro tayo din yung number one user of social media in a day kasi parang we spend parang 10 hours of our time sa Facebook. Tapos feeling ko dahil yun sa sa parang we have to establish parang constant connection with each other. Pero yun nga lang as users din, parang for me kaya ako sinasabing hindi tayo prepared kasi as a culture, hindi tayo confrontational. So pag may issues tayo with each other, kaysa ayusin natin ng harapan, parang yung may tendency tayong usapin yung kapitbahay, yung ibang tao at doon tayo mag-vent out. And then, so yun yung nangyayari minsan sa mga, di ba, sa neighborhood, parang yun, chismisan. And then, when social media happened, naging easy access siya for everyone to just blurt out anything na gusto nilang sabihin without thinking ng mga, yung mga effects nun sa ibang tao. So yun, kaya naging naging modern way siya na makipag-chismisan at magsiraan.
Actually,
so yun yung kasi ganun tayo as people, parang we're really not confrontational. Nag-excuse yung social media.
Yeah, and now you have the platform to just bash anyone you want. Your favorite celebrities, the celebrities you hate, your friends.
Parang feeling ko wala ka rin kasing responsibilidad.
Walang police kasi, di ba?
Oo, hindi ka mahihiya.
Oo, so parang syempre with that, ang dami ngayon na we always say, I mean, I always say on this show na I'm not really a fan of that na parang kung may maling nagawa yung isang tao, ano mo na talaga siya sa social media na parang witch hunt na siya in a sense na parang mob lynching. I mean, syempre there's a lot of processes that go into figuring out nangyari pa talaga to, kinuha ba talaga ni John Denver yung iPad or bakit niya binagbog yung classmate niya. Pero kung nakita mo kasi on social media, it's just that parang one post to ruin someone's reputation.
Kasi parang yung kailangan lang gawin ng isang post sa Facebook ay kunin yung simpatya ng tao. Yun lang yung target, yun lang yung objective ng isang viral video to go viral. Ay kunin yung simpatya ng mga tao, and from there wala na siyang gagawin.
And di kasi nakikita ng mga tao na syempre naapektuhan din yung binabash mo in a sense na even though you try to avoid social media, everyone's gonna tell you, oy, ito yung sinasabi sa'yo tungkol sa'yo sa social media, or maano ka talaga eh. And oftentimes, a lot of people actually take their lives because of this.
Totoo.
I mean,
kasi yun, yung sabi nga ng isa sa mga naging research speaker namin for this film, kasi parang we wanted kasi din na yung film na to more than just a film, yung maging movement siya on responsible social media use. We talked to Chris Lau, sobrang sumikat before us, and people tagged him as the pambansang bobo kasi all because of a video, parang interview sa kanya ng isang reporter, TV reporter, nung sumuong siya sa baha.
oo,
Yung kotse niya, even if nakita niya ng
mataas na yung tubig.
so pinagtawanan siya ng mga tao, but then nung kwento niya sa amin, sobra kaming naawa sa kanya kasi he had to go to Thailand and stay in a temple with monks.
After that whole incident.
Kasi sobra na siyang naapektuhan. So, hindi natin alam lahat. Hindi natin alam yung kwentong yun. Tapos, kasi sabi niya, buti nga, yung halimbawa kung if you're physically assaulted, binugbog ka, yung ganyan, as in, pwede kang makadepensa, parang kahit matalo ka, pwede kang makasuntok. But then, when you're attacked in social media, you can go into a room and hindi mo pa rin maramdamang safe ka kasi alam mo sa utak mo na at that very moment sinisiraan ka ng maraming tao sa social media at yun yung masaklap, utak mo na yung naapektuhan.
And yun nga, parang alam mo ng lahat ng tao kahit saan ka pumunta dahil kumalat na siya everywhere. And yun nga, as you were saying, that guy Chris Lau had to go into hiding. And syempre not all people have the resources to
yun pa din
actually go to Thailand and hide with the monks or
yun naman yung nangyari kay Paula, yung si Amalayer.
Nakausap niyo rin siya?
We had an interview with her. Well, nakapost yun sa Facebook namin. At kunento niya kung paano nangyari. Parang her story naman kasi parang na-videohan siyang nakipag-away sa guard. But then yung version niya of the story, she was triggered by the guard na magalit. At hindi na-capture ng
video
na yun. But then nasira yung buhay niya.
Ginawa pa siyang punchline sa lahat ng movies, meme.
Ayun. Pero yung masakit kasi doon, yung nakita niya na yung hindi siya makalabas ng bahay. She lost a lot of weight. Tapos umabot siya sa point na kinausap niya yung tatay niya kung pwede ba silang makabili ng bagong pangalan. Kasi at gusto niyang tumira lang sa pagkalayo-layo and start anew kasi more than sa sarili niya, nakita niya yung epekto sa tatay, kung paano naapektuhan yung tatay ng paninira ng mga tao at yun talaga yung masakit sa kanya. Yun, yung mga bagay na yun, hindi natin alam yun.
At hindi natin nakikita. Kasi ang bilis mag-move on ng mga tao na parang, okay, babash ko tong taong to, tapos pagkatapos nun, sige, bash pa more. Tapos after nun, move on ka na to the next issue, kung anong showbiz chika na nandyan, na pwede mong i-bash ulit.
Kasi yun yung na-realize ko when I first heard the story of that boy sa Negros na inakusahan na ninakawan ng iPad. So parang, yes, narinig ko siya sa radyo. Tapos, pero what bothered me even more is yung fact na, alam mo yung, after a few days, makakalimutan ng tao yung kwentong to. But then, etong mga naiwan sa issues na to, hindi to makapag-move on ng ganun kabilis.
Trauma na rin yun in a sense.
And yet, hindi natin alam yun. Kasi parang yun nga, parang when we move on to from an issue to the next, hindi natin na-realize na may mga tao na na-apektuhan along the way. So, yun yung gusto ko talagang objective ng film ever since. So, parang, sana, it's a story about social media, pero personal story siya.
It goes beyond that. And yun nga, parang it's just sad na wala kasing platform to speak up, or kung nag-speak up ka man, parang people have made their minds na parang ito ka ng taong to at wala nang pwede magbago, which is, I mean,
yun na yun. Kasi parang for me, napaka-subjective ng truth ngayon. So parang hindi ikaw yung makakapag-desisyon na ngayon kung ano yung totoo. Hindi facts yung basis na ngayon kung anong totoo, kundi yung sa dami ng taong naniniwala kahit mali siya.
At ang dami ring fake news na,
Ayun.
I mean, we all
Yun
know
yung isa sabi
of
ko
that.
parati, parang I wrote the story of this film na galit ako. Yung parang naiinis talaga ako sa mga nangyayari kasi kasagsagan yun ng, yun nga, fake news.
And until now, syempre, even abroad, Facebook's being interrogated
Yeah.
na why are you allowing political ads na to keep running kahit fake naman yung
Totoo,
news,
totoo.
ganyan, di ba?
Yeah.
Which is great kasi if people aren't aware, Twitter actually banned mga political anything na to be promoted on their page. So sana Facebook also follow suit.
Yeah. At napakadali. I mean, they can actually police their, alam mo yan, guard their platform easily. Kasi pwede na talaga nilang maiwasan knowing these stories happened na.
And yet, people keep on doing it. So, I mean, to anyone listening, I hope you're kind enough to try to contextualize whatever's happening. If kung napanood nyo na yung John Denver trending, that's just one example of what could happen because of this social media.
Yun nga, because of social media, yung experience ng someone in Ateneo or someone here in Manila, pareho lang yung experience ng someone dun na atake sa napakalayong probinsya ng Antique.
Mm-mm.
So parang, yes, it's a universal platform also. Kung naapektuhan ka, universal din yung effect.
And yung mga taong wala man sa paligid mo, they all have like not the right, but they all have the capacity to chime in kahit wala sila, kahit di ka
Totoo.
nila kaano-ano.
Well, yun nga din yung interesting na aspect of this film. Parang nung ginagawa ko yung story, yung script nito, parang yung ginawa ko lang, binantayan ko yung development nung kwento nung batang yon sa Negros.
Mhm.
Kung paano mag-unfold yung story niya based on the comment section of that video.
Yeah.
Pinanood ko. Tapos yun lang yung naging basis ko ng script. Tapos kasabay nun I talked to not to the mother but to an aunt of the boy. And then inalam ko yung version ng truth nila. So parang yung structure lang naman ng script ng film na to ay yung intersection between two versions of the truth. Yun lang yung naging kwento. Kaya siya siguro din naging madaling intindihin kasi hindi ko kailangan gumamit ng parang sophisticated writing technique para gawin yung script nito kasi binantayan ko lang siya kung paano siya nangyayari sa totoong buhay.
And it speaks for itself na at that point.
Oo.
So parang, syempre, given how realistic this is, ano yung naging response ng mga tao sa Antique, sa Pandan, after lumabas siya?
Well, ano naman, parang they were affected by the story pero mas apektado sila sa kung ano yung naging gano'ng kalaki yung naging epekto ng pelikulang to, not just for us but to the town itself mismo din kasi naging familiar yung mga tao sa town namin, nakita niyo kung ano yung itsura ng town namin, and then yun when we won in Cinemalaya, hindi naman nila sinabi na indie film lang yan, parang
Yeah.
indie festival yan, maliit lang yan naman yung scope yan for them kasi sobrang big deal yun na nung umuwi kami ni Jansen doon sa town, as in walang di ba parating binibiro na uwi ako dyan sa probinsya, mag-prepare ka ng banda, mag-prepare ka ng banda sasalubong sa akin. Totoo siya nangyari sa amin. Parang the moment we entered the town, parang may nakahintay talaga doon ng mga parang caravan ng mga.
That was after you won na.
In Cinemalaya. Tapos parang sinalubong kami ng mayor, tapos may banda, tapos parang may sunod sa amin na parang ang haba ng pila ng mga may motorcade, ganyan. Tapos when we enter the town plaza, yung parang sa mga pelikula na sumisigaw yung mga bata na andyan na sila eh.
Talaga.
Kasi sobrang as in gulat na gulat ako kasi parang for me kasi din big deal yun sa kanila kasi first time nga nilang ma-experience yung ganong klaseng experience na magkaroon ng spotlight dun sa town namin. And yun nga, nanalo pa kami.
Which is great din. Syempre, makikita mo talaga dito yung culture ng hindi lang ng another province in the Philippines pero yung particular hometown mo which is Antique.
Yun naman more than anything, more than the awards. Yun sa akin yung naging special sa experience na to, yung makita yung mga tao na nagkaroon ng kakaibang experience all because of the film. Yun.
So, gusto ko rin itanong, for the film itself, napansin, one of the things that I really appreciated about it is how you were able to portray na, although very traditional yung town pa rin, na maraming mga mambabarang ba yun? Manghula or ang tawag doon?
Parang,
Shaman, parang ganun.
shaman siya.
Tapos,
albularyo, ganyan.
mga religious stuff, yung mga pamahiin, may aswang ba or all that. And na-integrate pa rin siya dun sa modern world ng social media. Parang, how did you come about like balancing those two?
Kasi yung nga, yung nakakatawa sa taon namin, yung mga ganong rituals, practice talaga siya.
Oo.
And yung actor na yun sa film na who portrayed the role of a shaman is actually a shaman. So, as in, totoo siyang albularyo talaga. And kung ano yung ginawa niya din sa film, ay ginagawa niya sa totoong buhay. So, yun. Kasi, napakalaki ng role ng isang albularyo. Tawag namin sa kanya, sa tao namin, maaram. Ibig sabihin, aram is maalam. So, parang the wise man sa taon namin. Siya yung pinupuntahan, not just for illnesses, but to solve crimes.
Oh, okay.
So pag may mga nawalang bagay doon, yun yung talaga ginagawa, yung parang
papahanap mo.
through the power of Caesars. Ginagamit yung gunting doon. Sa lagunting yung tawag namin to locate yung people na nawawala, kahit things gaya ng iPad nga.
At sobrang dami mo ma-explore in future films, I guess, with all that, all those elements.
Ito na naman, pa-Halloween na naman.
Pa-Halloween na naman tayo.
Ano tawag dito? Trivia lang din. Halloween trivia. When we were shooting one of the scenes, basta yung eksena na nagpapatunog siya ng stick doon. May eksena doon, nagpapatunog siya ng stick kasabay ng John Denver na nagpo-post siya defending himself, na parang hindi ko ninakaw yung iPad, ganyan. Tapos nasa background doon may yung albularyo gumagawa ng ritual. Yung ritual kasi na yon is actually done to ward off parang soul nung kakamatay lang, parang to guide them away from the place to heaven, parang ganun. Nung right before natapos yung eksena, biglang namatay lahat ng ilaw.
Oh my gosh.
As in, sobrang namatay lahat ng ilaw. Tapos parang, cut? As in, yung cut? Gano'n lang. Patanong pa. Bigla siyang bumalik. Sorry, nasa video.
So, ginagawa lang ngayon for acting. Pero, may na-trigger talaga or something.
Kasi yung ginamit din naming parang picture nung sa mga eksena ng namatay, ay totoo talaga siyang namatay.
Oh.
So bigla siyang nawala ng ilaw. Tapos parang after ako nag-cut, siya, bumalik. Tapos yung albularyo, syempre na yung mga tao, nagkagulo na. Pero yung albularyo namin, yung sobra siyang proud. Kasi feeling niya validated yung power niya.
Totoo talaga.
Totoo, okay.
So with that, parang syempre, your only professional actor is Miss Meryl Soriano. Paano yung experience niya parang getting into the role and syempre getting parang the experience of being in Antique? Syempre, medyo may halong Tagalog yung mga lines niya, di ba?
Kasi yung original plan ko nga talaga ay to cast parang all non-professional actors. Pero kasi when we were casting na for the role of Marites, yung role ni Meryl, sobra ako nahirapan kasi walang bumabagay sa role at nagre-require kasi ng acting din, ng matindi ang acting yung character ni Meryl. So parang we decided to cast a professional actor at wala lang talagang ibang akong naisip na gumawa ng character na yon kundi siya. And then good thing yung manager niya is also a director na nakatrabaho ko before, si Direk Andoy. Tapos pinabasa namin sa kanya yung script, tapos sobra siya nagustuhan, tapos parang this was parang days before ang shooting process.
Oh, really?
So game lang siya. Pumunta siya doon and stayed there for almost half a month. We had to adjust the script kasi ayoko namang magpeke masyado siyang peke na magkikinaray. So we had to revise her character na someone from Clark, actually Pampanga pala, hindi pala Clark.
Well, sa Pampanga naman yung Clark.
Totoo ba? Sambali, okay. Baka makausan. Ayun. Basta yun. Nagtatagalog siya at minsan kasi kasi naman pilitin natin. Tapos, pero kasi, the harder part naman, yes, pwede siyang pinagtagalog namin siya for some lines, pero still, she had to memorize the lines of other actors sa mga eksena niya para alam niya
kung ano yung cue niya. Oo.
So parang she also had to understand the Kinaray lines.
So ikaw ba yung naging coach niya sa language?
Tapos yun, nakikipag-usap siya, masyado siyang madaldal din dinadaldal niya yung mga tao doon para naging one of them kasi yun nga, nagstay siya doon for almost half a month. Tapos umabot siya sa point na nagmumotor na siya.
Talaga?
Kasi sasakay na siya ng motor, ikot-ikot, ganun siya doon, naging at home siya doon.
So, siguro last few questions about the movie before we head on to other mga Halloween stuff or other things. Parang naisip ko lang while watching the first part of the film, were there any other ideas kung paano mo i-present yung movie, yung format? Kasi, di ba may mga movies na purely screen lang siya tapos makikita mo yung mga nangyayari. May ganun bang aspect or concept kang naisip?
Interesting question kasi first time ko itong ikwento. Alam mo ba na the first intention talaga of the film was to do it na yung aspect ratio. If you're familiar with aspect ratio, yung size ng screen is parang
an iPhone?
No,
parang ganun.
Shrinking.
Oh.
Parang nag-start siya as a desktop laptop, parang wallpaper, parang desktop siya. Laptop. So yung size niya is 16 by 9. Tapos habang tumatagal, palit siya ng paliit hanggang sa naging cellphone camera siya.
Oh, okay.
So, and then yung cellphone camera na yun, the film mag-i-end sana na another video uli ang mag-viral.
Okay.
So para siyang
may cycle
so
ganun.
Parang nag-shrink siya. Kaya lang when we joined the First Cut Lab yung program ng FDCP na nagdala sila ng mga mentors dito from abroad to preview films parang nasa post-production na, and then para pagbigay ng feedback, and then yung feedback nila na parang tanggalin na yung shrinking aspect ratio kasi which I understand naman kasi yun nga kaysa sa mag-focus ka sa kwento ng bata na nawawala yung
sa format
kasi
lang.
nakikita mo yung gumaganon yung so naging I guess tama naman siya.
So may cut somewhere out there na ganun yung
so parang tapos kung nakapanood ko ng film, meron din yung revelation kung sino talaga yung nagnakaw ng iPad. Pero hindi namin ginamit. So, kasi for me, yung mas
hindi yun important.
Na parang at that point sa buhay ng bata, parang importante pa bang i-reveal mo yung truth when the rest of the people already decided
na
kung ano yung truth.
So dun sa original like shrinking version, nandun kung sino yung
kumuha ng iPad.
So sino nga ba? Kwenta mo na lang off-air. Siguro siya yung unang nang bully sa kanya.
Wala, lang. As in, ganun ka-stupid. Some random person.
So parang with the ending, I guess let's end with this for John Denver Trending. The ending, was there any other way you thought na to end it, or yun na talaga honestly, yung to strike a point?
Okay. May nagbi-bring up niya sa amin na parang the ending is too harsh or kailangan ba?
Actually, medyo na-shock ako. I mean,
kasi yun, sobrang naging struggle siya for me, honestly, to end that way. Kasi parang for the longest time when we were doing the film, parang I had an option. Sinut namin yun, and then nasa utak ko lang siya parate kung yun ba yung kailangan kong ending. And then kaya lang when we were already finishing the film, yung final edit ng film, parang na-realize ko kasi parang how can you edit someone else's life? Nangyari siya. Alam mo yun, parang why would I end the film with giving siguro another version and siguro bigyan ng hope man lang. Parang ako I have to give justice or kailangan ko lang respeto yung pagka, alam mo yun, yung nangyari sa totoong buhay, kung saan nanggaling yung kwentong yun. And yun yung naging decision ko, parang to stick with what really happened. Ibinigay ko yun sa kanya.
And I guess, I mean, although it was shocking to me na parang parang sa buong movie, iniisip ko kasi parang ano ba yung mangyayari sa dulo? I mean, that's one of the options for sure. Pero when it happened, we're not gonna spoil it or
parang it has to happen.
It has to happen para makita ng mga tao talaga yung impact.
Sobrang
diba?
hindi ako personally sobrang ako nasasaktan. Parang honestly, sa dami ng naging screenings namin since Cinemalaya, parang 3 times ko palang napanood ng buo yung film. Kasi for me, dahil sobrang familiar ako sa nangyari sa totoong buhay, hindi kahit ako mismo nahihirapan akong tumingin sa pelikula, sa sarili kong pelikula. But yeah, it has to happen. Parang ako kailangan siyang mangyari. I didn't make this film for people who might be triggered by the things that happened in the film, pero ginawa ko kasi siya sa mga taong kailangan maturuan ng leksyon o man lang makapag-isip sa to the greater public na parang makapag-isip ng mga actions nila. So yun. So kailangan kong mamili.
And has the response been pretty much the same sa mga audiences na napanood mo?
Yeah, well, ako sa Busan, sa Korea, parang sobra silang affected. May isang umiyak doon kasi yun nga yung nakakaano dito kasi parang yung experience ng someone here in the Philippines sobrang similar din, if not pareho sa experience ng a kid, a teenage boy na nakatira sa Korea, sa South Korea. Yun. So, yun, in a way, sobrang universal talaga yung effect niya ng social media din.
And congrats on the whole thing. Obviously, sa mga hindi pa nakanood, sana mapanood niyo siya somewhere.
I think it's the right time rin. Best time to say na we're starting our screenings na sa microcinemas from November 20 to 26. Ngayon, 2 microcinemas na yung nag-confirm, Cinema Centenario and Cinema 76.
So abangan natin yung yan. We'll be posting more details on the Popcorn social media. So I'm curious to find out. Syempre, this is your first directorial
debut.
It's your directorial debut. How was the journey? Syempre, you've been a writer in ABS-CBN for quite some time. How many? 15 years ba, tama?
Almost, oo.
So parang paano ka...
I started there right after college noong 2005.
Mm-mm.
Tama ba? Almost 15 na rin.
So parang how did you get to... Did you always want to be a director? Or parang being in the business and seeing it happen for TV, dun ka ba na-inspire para i-pursue yung...
Well, gusto ko talaga ever since gumawa ng film. Well, hindi nga fiction, documentary. So mas good talaga yung interest ko. Parang more than anything, I'm interested to learn about the stories of real people. Pero kasi napunta ako sa teleserye. Ayun. Exciting yung work sa television na for almost 15 years. Na-enjoy ko talaga siya. Kasi madrama talaga yung mga nangyayari din sa likod ng camera. But then yun nga, in 2017, medyo cheesy lang to. Pero kasi yung hindi serendipitous talaga for me. Yung narinig ko yung balitang yun sa TV, sa radyo when I was going to ABS pa nun eh. Papunta akong ABS, may Uber pa nun. Narinig ko lang siya sa radyo.
RIP Uber.
Tapos for some strange reason, hindi siya talaga nawala sa utak ko. And then, dun ko na-realize, parang, gawan ko kaya to ng kwento, isulat ko kaya to yung script na to, tapos, yun, dun saka ko na-realize, maybe, it is also about time for me to do something else. Yun yung kwentong yun yung ipa-realize sa akin na baka tama na itong paggawa ng pagsusulat ng teleserye.
Can you tell us anong teleserye yung mga nagawa mo
matagal na? We did a remake of Flor de Luna.
Oh my gosh.
Remake lang hindi
yung,
and then,
kamusta na kaya siya ngayon? Wala na siya sa showbiz, diba?
Last kong balita is parang student siya sa UP.
Oh, nice.
And then yun, tapos we did a remake of Korean novela. Tapos,
alin yun?
Only You. Angel Locsin to. Hi, Angel. Ayun. Tapos, several, parang Piola Pascual Angelica teleserye. The last one,
Apoy sa dagat ba yun?
Apoy sa dagat.
Wow, alam ka lang.
Alam mo.
Syempre,
Sobrang, yun.
kapamilya to death.
Pero yung last kong soap, as teleserye before ako nag leave of indefinite leave, ay yung Killer Bride.
Oh my gosh, congrats. Sobrang successful na Killer Bride ngayon.
It was one of the parang my concepts na na-pitch ko nung time na yun. Tapos parang yun, luckily nagawa siya. Parang I was the pilot script. I wrote the pilot script.
And si Maha na talaga yung nasa isip mo as a character?
Na kwento sa kanya yung kwento ng Killer Bride, and she in a way volunteered to do the to do the role, even if yung a huge portion of the story hindi
siya lumalabas.
Oo, kasi sobra siyang na-intrigue dun sa kwento. So yun, that was my last teleserye with ABS. Now I'm coming back as a director na.
Wow, congrats.
Level up daw eh. So, ayun.
Pwede na ba i-reveal dito kung ano yung gagawin mo? Para ma-promote din natin.
Tawag din? I'm doing MMK. Siguro lalabas siya by mid-November.
And this is purely directorial na wala kang
Tapos,
kinalaman sa screenplay.
Yun nga kasi parang for me, when after na ginawa ko tong John Denver, I realized na mas mahirap talaga magsulat kasi more than anything na ginagawa sa showbiz. Ang hirap talaga magsulat kasi yun, you're dealing with your insecurities alone. Kasi mahirap talaga magsimula ng isang bagay na blanco yung kaharap mo. Other people sa industriyang to are working on something na may hawak na sila. Yung writer lang yung nagtatrabaho na wala siyang pinanghahawakan kundi utak niya. And dun lumalabas yung insecurities na for me napakahirap niyang i-deal with. So yun.
And coming from that, parang syempre, yun nga, how is it working in television, in teleseries right now? Syempre, ang hirap na ang dami nang nagawang kwento na paulit-ulit na lang sinasabi ng mga tao. Parang how do you come up with ideas or...
Well, for me, ang pagsusulat sa TV kasi, for me, one of the hardest talaga na job ng isang writer. Kasi imagine mo, you cannot decide on your own kung anong isusulat mo kasi una, you have to pitch your story. You have to pitch your story to your immediate boss, your parang production manager, business unit, tapos eventually business unit head. May mga house kami sa ABS. Para kaming Game of Thrones.
Mga GMO, ganun.
Yun. Okay. Sobrang familiar ka doon. And then from there, pupunta pa kami sa office ng mga Diyos, yung sina Sir Gabby, Ma'am Charo, Direk Lauren. And then, after nila maaprubahan, bababa ka ulit. Magsusulat ka na ng script. Tapos babalik ka na naman doon for approval. So, yung sinusulat ng isang writer sa television ay parang sinulat siya ng buong kumpanya.
And this is for all all episodes of everything?
Yeah. And hindi pa doon pumapasok pag pumasok na yung ratings. And pumasok yung FGD results. So lahat ng yun, hawak yun ng writer. So ganun katindi.
And hindi nakikita ng mga tao na, the process.
And then, most of the time, since nauso ngayon, yun, pasok na naman sa social media, direct din yung
response ng mga tao.
Tsaka yung reaction ng mga tao lalo na yung mga fans sa sinusulat ng writer. Kasi syempre hindi naman nila alam yung pinagdadaanan ng mga writers every day para lang ma-approve yung script na sinusulat nila. Dumadaan yun sa 1,000 tao. Pero yung ina-atake minsan ng mga tao sa social media writers, pag-gugulat ka, some fans parang nagkakaroon pa yun ng mga death threats sa writer.
Grabe.
Ganun sila ka-invested sa...
Pero may ganun bang experience na mag-give in yung writing team to what social media wants? For example, for a highly rating show.
Well, yung social media, based on experience ko, maingay lang sila. Pero sometimes they don't reflect the
ratings.
Kasi pa din yung huge bulk pa din ng audience ng mga stations like ABS ano pa din, mothers pa din, ano talaga, pamilya. Yung mga nasa social media minsan na may ingay, yun usually mga teenagers, mga fans.
Nanood na lang ng Supercut sa iWant.
So yun. So exciting. Mahirap yung trabaho ng writer sa TV, pero sobra siyang exciting.
Would you say na nag-improve na from the time you started to now yung the way stories are being developed? Siyempre, yun nga, malaking po na lagi na pare-pareho lang yan,
okay.
ganyan.
Well, for parang communication majors, interesting siya tingnan na yung galaw ng kwento sa mga teleserye ay nakadepende sa political situation ng bansa.
Hello, probinsyano.
Kasi, I'm speaking as parang practitioner din, parang ganun. Pag nakadepend, pag alam mo yung medyo may conflict yung yung political climate sa bansa, nagre-reflect sa kung ano yung gusto ng mga taong mapanood.
And mag-a-adjust din kayo to that.
Kasi kaya for me, kaya nagkakaroon ng extension, humahaba yung buhay ng probinsyano kasi people want to see them fighting.
And that's because that's what's happening.
At recorded yun kasi parang every time na may mga barilan, 40% yan.
Talaga?
Kasi parang for me, tapos di ba nauso yung mga awayan, sampalan, yun.
Hindi ka napapasok sa e-school. John Denver.
So for me, yun, very reflective yung choices ng audience ngayon. Syempre, hindi natin maiwasan yun. TV talaga is business pa rin. Kahit sabihin na natin na we have to do something different, which believe me, ina-attempt yun parati. Kaya mahirap for writers din to create something. Kasi yung una mo naman kasing gagawin dyan, gagawa ka ng bago eh. And then eventually yan
dahil sa extensions doon na diba? At
yung pag narinig mo na yung input ng ibang tao, doon nagbabago naman yung konsepto mo eh. Kasi pero simula sa isang writer, magsisimula yun definitely sa isang kung ano yung interesting at kung ano yung bago. Naapektuhan lang along the way.
Pero when it comes to that, may mga I'm curious to find out lang, may mga times pa na okay, management will say, gusto ko ng teleserye with this love team. Tapos dun kayo gagawa ng story. Yeah. Pero mayroon din yung gagawa ka ng kwento. Tapos sila na bahala kung sinong ipapasok nila.
Ganun. Pero yun, minsan, or hindi naman, madalas nga eh, usually, mandate yung tawag. Parang nagma-mandate sila to do soap, halimbawa, for Kathniel or Lisket.
Attached na talaga.
So may ganun. Kasi, nag-crave naman yung tao sa mga teleseries nila. Pero sometimes, like halimbawa, itong Killer Bride, we did this para naman, all because parang gusto namin gumawa. In a way, kakaiba naman siya. Yun. May mga ganun kaming attempts from time to time na minsan nag-work naman. Depende rin sa tao.
So who did you have in mind as the Killer Bride before Maha came into the picture? Curious lang ako.
Angel Locsin ba? Parang ganun. Parang si Angel
Hindi kasi naisip ko nung nakikita ko yung mga trailers, napapanood ko yung mga clips na dahil sa success ng Wildflower,
hindi.
Kaya gumawa sila ng Killer Bride.
Hindi naman. Parang hindi siya ginawa for some particular person, for actor. Ginawa lang siya dahil parang natuwa kami sa concept. So parang eventually saka lang namin naisip kung kanino siya babagay at kung sinong tatanggap doon.
May intention ba talaga kayo na, syempre of course na talaga na naging Killer Bride na, may intention ba talaga na gawin siyang full-on horror serye or ano lang siya talaga, starting point lang talaga siya?
Hindi, parang, sa umpisa, starting point talaga siya, pero yung pinaka-tone talaga ng teleserye, medyo gothic yung attempt namin doon na yes, medyo horror yung feel, pero horror tsaka thriller kasi may pumapatay talaga siya. May pumapatay talagang tao sa para lang din maiba. Ayun, tapos nakaset siya sa isang fictional town na lahat ng mga tao naniniwala sa mga ganong superstitious belief. Yun, kasi nga galing sa grupo namin yung concept at yung part ng grupo na yun galing ako sa Antique, so parang
it's part of the talaga.
Nasa dugo ko siya. Ayun.
So, I mean, yun nga, sa mga hindi nakakanood ng The Killer Bride, spoiler alert, ma-reveal kasi na hindi talaga siya multo, di ba?
Oo.
So, from the onset, may ganong concept na kayo?
Oo. Kasi parang ano lang talaga siya. Parang, ano lang siya. Parang, ang tawag dito, yung evil plan lang talaga siya.
Oo, which is super grabe yung planning na kailangan mag-hire ka pa ng ibang tao galing sa Maynila or
Kasi
something.
ano siya, nagsimula na siya sa isang lokohan na parang, what if ano talaga, yung parang akala mo may multo pero wala talagang multo.
Para din siyang yung Spider-Man Far From Home, di ba? Na si Mysterio, akala mo talaga to superhero, but in a sense, it's all an illusion. Ganon din yung Killer Bride, and I guess I can say that. So, are you looking forward to like going back to the writing scene, or mostly you're headed towards the direction of
Sana
directing?
Sana ako siguro pag halimbawa films I can write, pero pag teleserye parang hindi mo
na kayang balikan.
Ako dati I can write I could write parang 200 pages.
Oh my gosh.
In isang buong araw.
At ikaw lang yun?
Like kaya kong gawin yun when I was bata pa. Like isang upuan, I can write parang ayun nga, parang almost 200.
Ilang episodes yung 200 pages?
1 week na script yun. 1 week na birth ng script. Tapos, ngayon hindi ko na yung kaya.
Grabe.
Hindi ko na yung kaya. As in literal na walang tulog. As in walang tulog talaga kahit isang minuto. Ginagawa namin yung dati hanggang ngayon, ginagawa yun ng mga writers sa mga TV. Parang, kasi lalo na pag natawag namin yung for airing, your hand to mouth.
Oo, yung
Yun. Yun talaga, yung parang isusulat mo ngayon, tapos isushoot nila sa afternoon, lalabas sa...
So, nasa ABS ka ganun, tapos papadala lang sa on the set, ganun
or
ba?
minsan, ini-in-house nila kami sa mga hotels. Kaya ayoko magko-condo kasi nare-remind ako ng mga days na nakatira lang kami dun sa isang room sa hotel.
Ilang people ba usually sa isang
mababa na, maliit na yung 3 people.
Oh.
Pero sometimes umabot yun ng mga 7, 5, yung ganun. Tapos parang you will just stay inside the hotel for about 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
May isang grupo dati 2 months.
Wow.
And then we will hire parang kusinera to feed us.
Grabe.
Parang yung baboy na pinapakain. Pero yun nga, sobrang excited. As in, na-enjoy ko siya kasi kahit ganun yung trabaho. Para ka nagde-deliver din ng news every day kasi sa sobrang intense niya.
Pero at this point, siguro final question about teleseries. What do you think? Parang do you think still parang effective pa rin yung 5 days a week? Syempre, nagkakaroon na ngayon ng supercut sa I Want TV na kino-condense nila yung episode. You think it's really evolving towards that kind of format?
Sana.
Or
Ako sana. Kasi gusto ko rin naman ng bagong experience sa na maibigay natin sa Filipino audience. Pero talaga, sobrang siguro slow-paced na changes. Kasi,
and I think aabot naman din tayo dun.
Ako kasi very positive ako sa kasi susubok pa rin at susubok talaga at minsan may nakakalusot sa nasubok na yun na nagagawa. Lalo pa ngayon pag naging patok yung I Want na channel na platform. Siguro yun parang owners din of television networks will get inspired.
And ang galing din actually na we have these platforms. I think na-mention ko na rin before in old episodes na napanood ko yung Call Me Tita, si Babae sa Septic Tank 3, si Direk Huge, si ano pa ba? May Bagman din. Ang ganda rin na may ganong episodic format
kasi,
na.
Parang siguro din, kaya rin minsan nagiging restless yung mga writers kasi they want something new to write about. Parang ganon. So, napakagandang platform ng I Want para dun mo ilabas yung mga gusto mong hindi mo mailabas sa mainstream.
Sa regular.
Oo. Kasi ang daming kailangan mong pa-aprobahan. Yun. So, parang wala namang problema dun. At least kasi may bagong platform. Tapos, sa mga teleseries kasi, for me kasi, still, the most powerful pa rin talaga na medium for me ay television at yung pinaka-powerful doon na content sa TV ay teleserye talaga kasi pinapanood siya ng almost half of the population.
Lalo na kung nagte-trending siya. And,
Lalo na sa Mindanao, parang umaabot yung ratings doon ng 70%.
Talaga, more than
Ganun siya ka-powerful.
kabila.
Oo.
More than
Siguro
kabila.
naman malaking part din. I mean kahit sa kanila
Malaki din yung ratings nila.
sa Mindanao.
So, after this whole stint as a writer, ano yung mga pwede namin i-look forward to with your projects? May niluluto ko na bang ibang kwento?
Well, for now, we're still touring na John Denver within the Philippines, tsaka sa abroad din sa mga festivals. Pero at the same time, I'm trying to prepare na my next film, yung sinabi ko tungkol sa aswang.
Totoo na talaga yan. Naabangan ko yan.
It's actually, nasa proseso pa rin kami ng research. Ayun, pero yun yung develop ko. It's parang aswang story pero hindi siya horror. Ayun, tapos aside from that, from time to time siguro kung may paibigay na project sa TV as director, pwede namang gawin yun. And yun, also I'm producing other films like sa producer ko ngayon, gaganti naman ako naman magpo-produce ng film niya kasi i-direct niya. So ganun yung kami. Wala kaming sweldo, nagano lang kami. Nagsisingilan lang kami ng utang na loob.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
May mga gusto ko ba mga trabaho na actors, actresses, or do you want to keep on like doing it grassroots like the way you did it with?
Gusto ko talaga, yun talaga yung advocacy na sana makadiscover or mabigyan ng chance yung ibang tao na hindi nila ina-expect na pwede silang umarte. Kasi iba yung experience yung seeing them na alam mo yun, experiencing all of these things. Pero siguro sa actors, I'm interested to direct Liza Sobera.
Gawin mo siyang aswang. Liza the aswang.
Tapos siguro sa mga sino pa ba? Yun, Liza yung mas for me pakiramdam ko may pwede siyang maibigay na hindi mo inaasahan.
Potential. So yun, I guess that's pretty much it for our conversation with Derek regarding the industry, teleseries, aswangs, and John Denver trending. We will be right back with our last bit of popcorn after this break.
Hindi ko pinangarap na umibig ng pag-ibig na ilalaso ng halik. Hindi ko inasam itong sakit na parang langit lamang ang pakiramdam. Kahit na hindi ako ang laman ng iyong mga yakap, sa tuwing pagmulat, kahit na pangalan ko'y maaari lang bigkasin, kung di iihip ang hangin, hayaan mo lamang umibig ang isang pusong humihingi ng isang gabi.
change, cause one day you're here with me, the next day you're gone, and now all I'm left with is pain. Like, why did you leave? Why couldn't you stay? I love you so much and then you ran away. I gave you my heart and you tore it in two, but I love you so I guess it's okay. Yeah, and I'm broken, and I'm hoping that I'll be okay by the morning. I'm falling, I'm longing, your love got me so foreign. Can you please pick up this phone when I'm calling? Cause I'm in love.
Girl, I love you.
But you don't feel the same way. And now all I can say is you're the one I got away. Hey.
Girl, I love you, but you never felt the same. Girl, I love you, but you left and went away. Girl, I love you, but you never felt the same. Girl, I love you, but you left and went away.
You're breaking my trust. I hate you so much. Didn't know love and you meant just lust. I just want you, I know you don't want me. I know it hit me, so you wanna be with. Whoa, but I know that it's me you think of when you get wild on the weekend. So I hope you're happy now that we're apart. I should've known from the start. Now when it came to you, Cupid just ran out of dust. Now I'm all in our hearts. And this cause of you. Yeah. And this cause of you. Cause I love you, but you left me. Gave you my kisses, but you never kept me. If you're an angel, then why do you tempt me to bite the forbidden fruit while you undress me? But it's okay, love is complicated in every way. If I give up what I have today, do you think tomorrow will I fade? Or will my feelings for you always stay? Sheesh, can you see? God put you in this world for me. I don't believe the things I'm meant to be, but I believe it when you're here with me. Yo, sorry, cause you don't feel the same and it sucks. And now all I'm left with is broken pieces of my heart that will always stay shut. Fuck, yeah.
Girl, I love you, but you never felt the same. Girl, I love you, but you left and went away. Girl, I love you, but you never felt the same. Girl, I love you, but you left and went away.
Tell me to do you right. All I want is for you to get me through the night. And your face so beautiful up close to mine. Can I say you might fall in love, but I don't mind. Cause you taste so sweet, baby, let me through. Give me all of you, give me all of you. We both crave something new. Give it all to you, give it all to you. Don't say you love me, cause I've been drowning now lately. Sorry, I'll never treat you right, babe. Sorry, I'll never treat you right, don't you love me? Don't say you want me, the pleasure might make it hazy. Sorry, I'll never treat you right, babe. Sorry, I'll never treat you right, don't you love me?
Souls aligned, cause if you're moving closer, then I know I'm getting pulled deeper into your eyes. Boy, I want you for more than tonight. Sweet baby, let me through. Give me all of you, give me all of you. We both crave something new. Give it all to you, give it all to you. Don't say you love me, cause I've been drowning down lately. Sorry, I'll never treat you right, hey. Sorry, I'll never treat you right, don't you love me? Don't say you want me, the pleasure might make it hazy. Sorry, I'll never treat you right, hey. Sorry, I'll never treat you right, don't you love me?
I can feel your body, I can feel your body, don't leave the night. I can feel your body, I can feel your body, don't leave the night. I can feel your body, I can feel your body, don't leave the night. I can feel your body, I can feel your body, don't leave body, don't leave the night. I can feel your body, I can feel your body, don't leave the night. Hey, yeah, 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 yeah. Don't say you love me, 'cause I've been drowning now lately. Sorry, I'll never treat you right. Sorry, I'll never treat you right. Don't you love me? Don't say you want me. The pleasure may make it hazy. Sorry, I'll never treat you right, babe. Sorry, I'll never treat you right. Don't you love me?